G'day everyone. Proud to say Barkarati is brought to you by Radix Nutrition, makers of the most technically comprehensive nutrition products that have ever existed. Unlock your potential with Radix. G'day listeners, welcome to Barkarati the Sailing Podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer and it's that time of the week where we get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But of course I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. First off, let's welcome Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, Exalted One.
How are you, mate?
Hola, buenos dias. It's a Spanish theme, but I'm not in Spain, but I'm soaking the motor. I'm in the UK. We could be almost roving reporters for this America's Cup.
Oh,
almost. I'm in the UK, and I can tell you something. The vibe, the Marbo, is huge.
Poor
it's
overseas
huge.
listeners won't get that one at all.
No, that's okay. It doesn't matter. But I can tell you one thing. There is a big America's Cup party going on this afternoon at the old White Hart Inn in Hamble.
Oh,
yeah.
Starting at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Would not doubt it.
It's huge.
Bit of controversy, the BBC not being offered the cup free and they're not going to play the cup on TV. Crazy. Let's bring the other bloke because he's already chatting away, so hang on.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Officially bring me in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, mate, the White Hart Inn, it'll be going sick for Savo.
Mate.
Everyone will be lined up there, ready to go. Flick it onto BBC and what they got? Oh, a bit of Premier League.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Bit of Southampton playing the Wolverines.
Southampton v Bournemouth.
No, there's a secret TV behind the blackboard apparently.
Right.
That they bring it out, and she's fully connected to YouTube.
No, I'll tell you.
But no one knows.
Oh, okay.
Stand up. Lizzie would love all her mates standing up right now, just cheering on for the cup.
Pretty
good.
It'll be good.
Pretty good.
Exciting. Exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's,
the key is, Bicey, you're going to be in Barcelona next week.
Correcto.
I'm going to be here.
Correcto.
It's going to be like,
yeah, roving reporters.
Roving reporters.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll fill
Where are
in.
you going, Jordan?
Japan, I was just going to say. I'm going to find Fuku.
It's going to be cool.
Find Fuku and talk cup with him.
Have some sushi with Fuku.
Cool. It's pretty cool, isn't it, boys? Like I think we're in seventh heaven a bit at the moment, like with all this stuff. You know, by the time as we publish this, the first of the cup final will have happened. Like it's going tonight, late this afternoon. So it's exciting times. Can't wait. You've just come from opening day at your yacht club, Bice. You flew back specially for opening day, I suspect, and then
no, Negatore.
See the family.
We just went out on one Carlin Howard's boat, and then we thought we'd be fools. Let's get the foreboard out and go for a tow behind the boat.
Good on you.
Quite humbled, one would say. I've got a massive gash on my back just from the foil, the 1100 wide foil just cutting through my back. Apart from that, pretty good.
You've got to wear the rubber
awesome
while
day.
you're learning.
Awesome day.
Yeah. You don't look tired at all, boss.
Oh, fuck. I'm ready for. Well, admittedly, we may have did a little bit of catching up last night, so today was a bit of a recovery.
Cool.
Good on you, man.
All right, let's get this episode underway. We've been very cup focused, and there's a reason because it doesn't come around regularly, and you know it's a great event, and we have tried to be as unbiased as possible in all our commentary. That being said, we are three Aussies, and there is a chance. You know, we're close to the Australian AC team. So last week we did the youth boys. So we completely ignored the women this week. No, No. We just wanted to celebrate what the Andu Australian America's Cup team was put together. It was led by the women, and they pulled the whole thing together, and they've created this opportunity. And there's, I know there's a real potential that hopefully something could come from it. You know, you never know, but we want to keep pushing and celebrating and talking about it. So we're being a little biased. We're going to go again a bit Aussie centric. We'll roll out of that next week and back to normal.
But is it Aussie centric, Jordan? It's a celebration of the event. We could talk to some of the other teams, but we haven't tried to. We've just gone with the Aussies, you know, which is fine because let's be honest, we're biased. We want to see an Aussie Cup team, so that's all.
Yeah.
And got a lot of respect for the women that we're going to be talking to next. And so I just wanted to put that disclaimer on. We don't feel guilty at all. We're pretty bloody happy with what we're doing. I hope you guys are enjoying it. We're trying to take you on the boats, but again, it is a little Aussie centric, but you know, they deserve a bit of attention, and it's really informative.
You know what they say, Jordan Spencer?
What's that?
Anyway, stiff shit. Carry on with the show.
All right. Okay, so we've got Laura Harding. She was Port Helm on the women's team. We got Lisa Darman, and she was
champion.
Yep, she's the senator. Been on the show a few times already. Starboard trim.
That's going to stick.
Yeah,
that's sticking too.
The senator. Yeah, we love it. And then Sarah Hoffman came, who was part of the training program build up and put in some key elements in the discussion. So let's welcome them to Barkarati. Welcome to the show, Laura, Lisa, and Sarah. It's great to have you.
Thanks, guys. I'm happy to be back at Barkarati, and I can't wait to see these two on it.
Number three for you, Lise. So you're racking them up.
I know. Yeah, I just love chatting to you guys. So I can't help myself.
Oh, you're a human being, Lise. Let's face that. But first of all, I must admit, I've got an apology. You guys put out a post the other day, or the Andu Australia Challenge team put out a post, and in my excitement of what the post was, I put a little comment. I said 5 out of 9. Not great to see the Crocs in show. 5 out of 9 people in the picture were wearing Crocs, and as many listeners know, I'm a fan of the Croc. But then I thought about it afterwards, and I'm thinking 5 out of 9. Have I just critiqued your actual sailing performance in Barcelona? So apologies, that wasn't the intent. It was all about the Croc. But so tell me, is 5 out of 9, is that average, or were a few people holding back?
What, like our sailing performance?
No, the Crocs.
Wearing Crocs.
Have you got a sponsorship? Are Crocs on board?
We tried to get a sponsorship, actually.
But we had Maya come on board pretty late into the campaign. So Olivia Price and I got to go on a shopping spree at Maya. And
there's a reel about it too.
It broke my heart that rather than getting like very nice shoes, that I had to go buy Crocs at Maya. But and then I flew over to Europe with about 5 pairs of Crocs.
Oh, beautiful!
Courtesy of Maya.
But we were able to bedazzle them.
Yeah,
we got lots of Australian
gibbets.
We had some
kangaroo
letters.
Yeah.
The Aussie flag.
Yeah.
And now I'm wearing Crocs on a daily basis, so you've broken me.
You've been broken. It's
my whole world is actually coming together here.
It is, isn't it?
The Croc. Next thing you know, the rainbow is going to make a comeback.
I have to say they were quite practical. They were super grippy. And also because like in your little pod, you're getting like sprayed with water and there's just like a little pool underneath you. It's just the Crocs.
The drainage.
The drainage was just 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
they don't not 5 out of 10.
Yeah, too.
We're one step closer to our sponsorship, Aussie.
We can't argue with the performance. The performance is second to none. There's no doubt about it.
You know, the great thing about them too, Boss, if we go through that, like just for you guys, obviously the Croc banter has been going on this show for a long time, and we get so many links and messages and emails about Crocs. And so I'm hoping all our listeners inundate you guys with them now. I just want you guys to suffer as much as we do. But it started you're talking inshore racing with the Cup, but Bicey, if you know your history, probably 20 years ago did a video in the middle of the Volvo Ocean Race about life of a croc on an around the world race. So
the crocs live on. The croc lives.
Anyway.
So, moving on.
Move on to the important stuff. Right.
Well, first of all, congratulations.
Yes.
What an absolute stellar performance. You've got to be happy with the way things went. Of course, you'd love to be in the final. I certainly don't doubt that at all, but the experience, the fact you're sailing with all your mates, must be pretty cool.
Yeah, look, we're all super proud of what we put together. We're all super competitive as well. So it was hard to not be gutted about not getting through to the semis, but you look back at each race and you kind of know where the mistakes were. So it was easy to reflect on that. But yeah, we're all super happy to be sailing the 40s together and with not a whole lot of time in the boat and not a whole lot of time sailing together. Like we've raced against each other a lot in the team. So yeah, it's kind of cool to get working together as a team.
With you're saying not a lot of time in the boat. One thing we certainly saw when we watched the youth was that it finished 1, 2, 3, 4 in order in the semis, in the order of the teams that had spent time in the boats. Now, in your pool, everyone except Sweden had not sailed the boats, and clearly the Swedish team were good. I'm wondering how much better you feel they were. Like, was it really noticeable, or was it like really on the margin?
I think it was pretty noticeable on that second day because, we were getting shifts of like 40 degrees.
Yeah.
And or even more, maybe 50, 60 degrees. And it was, 6 to 20 knots. So if you think about any boat you sailed or mastered and you're dealing with those conditions, it's a hard day on the water. But on the 40 where we're just so head in the boat trying to tame the beast, and then bang, you get like a 40-degree shift and you're like, holy crap, how am I going to save this thing? And then so we just probably couldn't really put the look out of the boat as much as we wanted to. And also when you're traveling at 30, 40 knots, you're looking at a shift so far ahead of you that we're kind of getting there before we realised. Whereas the Swedish probably had that perception a little bit better. And the Dutch sailed really well for very limited time in the boat. And so did the Spanish. Like they had a couple of days with another team. Like we got about 2 hours before we came here to Barcelona. They probably had a little bit more, but everyone was making mistakes around the racetrack that hadn't, well, even the Swedish. We just probably made a few more costly ones. It
was a noticeable. Go on, BP. Sorry, bro.
I was going to say, the first moment you stepped on board, was it what you expected, or was it just completely different?
Oh, well, actually, Sarah got to go about 3 days ago. So how did that feel, Sarah?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't remember it until I watched it back. It was just like, but it was actually, for me, pretty similar to the simulator. Like a lot of it, like you just had to focus on the heel number and your toggles, and that's what we do in the sim. So from that aspect, it was pretty similar to the simulator, which is pretty cool. Bit more jostling around.
Yeah,
some G-forces happening.
So what you're saying there is we should have a jostling seat in the sim as we move forward with this technology to make it feel a bit more real.
We just need you guys there just pushing us.
Yeah, that's fine. We can arrange that.
And he ended up with a bruise on it.
For the amount of bullshit that Jordan talks, that'll give enough jostle.
But it was pretty cool. Like the first bear away on our first day of training, it was like breezy. I think like we turn and I just see like 46 knots, and I'm like, sweet, this is cool. I think the speed wasn't.
It doesn't feel that fast.
Yeah, like I'm much more afraid hanging off the side of an Afra than doing a bear away in an AC40, which is pretty cool.
I'm more afraid trying to get back into my pod after, like when we're trying to pop. Yeah. We're at like 10 knots of boat speed, and like you go from 10 knots to like 16 pretty quickly, and you're trying to scramble in to get in before you start foiling.
Yeah, you've jumped out of your pod. You're standing on the windward side to help the boat. And then you've got to get back in. Yeah, that's the thing you're talking about. Yeah, actually, one of the questions that we forgot to ask, a lot of people have asked us, is how are you restrained within the boat. So if you decide, I don't know, like before the start to do a gigantic nosedive and stick the thing in at 100 miles an hour where you knock all your wind instruments and stuff off, what stops you going head first into the barrier in front of you? Like, are you strapped in at all? Oh, just the hands.
There are no seatbelts. It's brace.
Brace.
And we almost lost Tom Needham, I think, in the youth team. So.
Yeah. And the Canadians, Canadian trimmer nearly like fell out.
She actually
like
fell
lifted
out
up of her seat.
Wow.
No, that she got off the deck.
Oh, okay. But have been a few men in pool B.
You know, we've got a simulator for that. It's called Going for a Drive in Bicey's Land Rover.
Well, it's got lots of jostling in the seats.
No. That's got no brakes though, so it does not simulate the nosedive.
One of the interesting things when we watched the racing, I think, Lisa, you were talking about it a bit before, but day two, the Group A went for their first 4 races on day one, and day two, you guys had your first 4 races in 6 to 10 knots flat water sort of thing. So, you know, it was pretty glamour day. You guys you had a win that day. You know, I heard quite a few squeals of joy coming off the boat, and not only your boat, all the women boats did a bit of squealing, which I quite enjoy. I like that expression of emotion. Then the next day was a bit choppy, like you said, probably 10 to 23 knots. Everything was going at you. I think it was an offshore breeze. And do you reckon that, I think you've already said that difference, that sort of flatter, easier conditions, you were there, but that big change up stuff, it was just too hard.
Yeah, we ended up on the J3 for that day of racing, and it was really good for the up pressure, but as soon as we had 2 breezes fighting from offshore, so it was like there was a mountain pretty much directly upwind, so I had to come around each side.
Yeah.
There was some coming from the airport and then some coming from the city. So we ended up, you know, a few times dropping off the foils, and we had 6.5 knots of breeze, whereas the other side of the course had like 15.
Yep.
And pretty much like you can't pop on these boats until it's like 7.5 knots when you have a J1, so the biggest jib.
Yep.
So yeah, we got caught out a little bit with the smallest jib, which made it a lot harder as well.
You could clearly see those wind patches. I mean, I guess the technology allows it, but, you know, using that technology, you could see there were little geographical holes in the course that day. It was really, it looked crazy.
It's like sailing into a pit, and you're just like,
and then there's the boundary. So like you're trying to get some more pressure, like to pop on foils that are past the boundary, but you can't because you'll get kicked out of the race.
Yeah. Yeah. God. Did you enjoy it?
It was so fun. I think that's why I was so sad when it was over.
Yeah.
A, I hate losing. But B, I just wanted to sail on AC40 more days. Like, it was so much fun. And I feel like the other thing that we felt in our team is like we had so much more to give. And I think with more time as a unit and more time on the boat, we could have done really well. And I think like that was the hardest thing, knowing we had potential, but that the journey for this time was over. But yeah, there were such wicked boats. I think like for me anyway, and Laura and Sarah can talk about it, but like it just clicked on the first day of racing. I was like, oh my God, I can look around and I can sail this boat like a boat. I'm not just like overwhelmed with what's happening. So it was super fun once that like kind of moment came, but then trying to coordinate with the 3 other people on the boat and race 5 other boats, it just was like a whole new level.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be quite different, like going from the sim and being on the boat to be able to look around. Like Sarah said, like it was pretty similar to sim, but like you couldn't obviously see any boats to the left or the right of you. You had to, like when you're in the sim, you had to pan on the keyboard to the left. So yeah, it was like adding all of those elements in and actually being able to race and see all the boats moving. But then the issues then arose of how do you communicate that to the other side of the boat with like who can see what and in the shortest amount of words possible. So yeah, it was good fun. That's for sure.
I must admit that some of the it looked as though the commentators let a lot of the communication from the boats kind of run their show, if that makes sense. So there was a lot of onboard discussion, and the Dutch were very vocal. because it's kind of like a dyslexic English, so it takes about 10 words to say one. But then you get a bit of Spanish, and then you get some good old Ocker Aussie stuff going on. I'm like, oh, how cool is this?
It was like the race last night or yesterday. The Swiss team, you know, they got quite a bit of accent, but when they swore in broad. It was almost Aussie the way they swore. It was quite funny.
Lisa had taught them her best.
We were quite mindful to not swear.
Yeah. I think I dropped a few, but and the Dutch were so loud that no one heard it. So it's
I love it. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm guessing you would have sailed against a lot of the other women part of it. Did you kind of share the pre-regatta nerves a little bit, or you stuck to yourselves a bit? How did that all look or pan out?
I think it was pretty special. We had this briefing about the racing, but everyone it was the first time that we'd all been in a room together. Mm. So you had, probably 100 women that had raced against each other over the past 15 years. A lot of them we hadn't seen for so long because they'd gone and got real jobs, or, they moved from Olympic sailing to offshore sailing and or sailing in their own country. And then we all get in this room together. It was like a big reunion, and it was super special just arriving there. And then I think, Abby Ella, who was running the show, said some pretty incredible words, and everyone was getting emotional. Yeah. And it was just like, I think we all just realized that the moment was more than us, and like that we really wanted to smash each other on the water, but we were all just really happy to be there. And I think even like between the pools, like everyone kind of wants the event to succeed because we want to showcase female sailing at its finest. And I don't know, it was pretty cool for me. I don't know, these two are a little bit younger, so they probably haven't been here for 15 years. But yeah, I don't know how the moment was for you.
Yeah, it was quite weird. Like there were a lot of FX sailors in there, but it's a new ball game, so you kind of start again and start from scratch. So I think that was cool. Like everyone was kind of going in there with expectations probably a little lower, especially in Pool B, like not having raced the boats at all. So yeah, I think with more up in the air, we're all just like pretty happy to be able to race each other in like a new boat, and be able to go 40 knots. Like in the middle of racing too. So definitely
cool.
Different.
It's if we look at the cup coming up, the cup final coming up, what have we got? We've got Dylan's a 49er guy. We've got Nath and Pete, 49er guys. On your boat, both skippers 49ers. Sarah, the question to you, and you got Lisa there, the NACRA. You're a NACRA sailor, Sarah. Is it better to have the foiling cat experience or the 49er skiff experience, in your humble opinion?
NACRA. I think both was working pretty. Like it does. I don't know. It does feel a little bit more like a FX sometimes, like a skiff. That boat. I don't know, because it just feels like a bit of a yacht.
I think.
But yeah, I think the NACRA experience with like knowing speeds and knowing how fast you need to foil is important, and that kind of what's going on underneath the boat is important to learn. So I'm sure you had a bit of time trying to figure.
Yeah, realizing, I mean, in the FX, like the boards are super important, but you get to, a foiling boat and you got to think about them so much more. And like in the FX, like, you drive it from up top and then you let that load down the bottom. But yeah, we kind of had to flip that a little bit to, I'm assuming that's how you think about it in the NACRA.
Yeah, it's just like, in the NACRA, sorry guys. Anyway, even in the NACRA, it's what we do.
Trying to hold yourself back.
Yeah. We're learning a lot. Maybe we can go have some fun in NACRA now.
I just love the Cunningham, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's clear that you guys have enjoyed the time together, and it opens up an important discussion. One, you guys put this all together yourselves. There's it was driven by, I think the women drove this whole program in pulling it together, then put in the U team and succeeded. So the question becomes, there's two questions. One is, does this lead to, is this the door opener for Australia coming back into the Cup? That's a really important question, and that's a hard question. And then the more important question, does that mean somebody's going to buy an AC40 and bring it to Oz and we can all have a go?
Well, to answer your second question first is yes, that is definitely the plan. I think right now we don't know, like you always don't know where the Cup is going to go based on who's going to win. So we'll find out in about 2 weeks and then have to wait about 6 months. But I think the plan is, like, the Cup could go ahead in 2 years' time, and then therefore we're already thinking, well, the campaign for then starts now. So this is just the beginning. So we're already rallying for an AC40, one in Australia, one in Europe. Why not? Let's hope a circuit kicks up and we can be part of it, because it's a great training tool for the Cup. And then for Australia, I think that is the ultimate goal. That's the reason that this team was set up, was because we want Australia back in the Cup. You look at all the other teams, there's Aussies everywhere. And really, depending on the nationality rule as well, depending how harsh that gets, we could be having a lot of Aussie sailors pretty keen to jump in a boat. And I don't know, for me, and I think for a lot of others, like sailing under our flag is super cool. And I mean, a lot of people go where the money is, and that's fine as well. But I think if we can get a proper professional team together for Australia, I think it'd be so cool. But I think we do bloody well as well.
Yeah.
I think the big thing was that the AC40s were a spectacle unto themselves. The Cup was the Cup, and it was there was a lot of discussion about the big boats, and then the youth started, and it was like just all electric. And then obviously you guys went out there, and on your first day, go and win a race, and man, we were excited. But the AC40 seemed to be a really cool addition to what I would suggest is a festival of sail, and I think that's where they're trying to go to, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's been like insane here. And like, I think that's what was quite exciting, to watching the 6 boats race around a racetrack in pretty close quarters was pretty exciting to watch. And, the Louis Vuitton got really tight and really exciting to watch as well. But
we all thought our racing was more exciting.
It was like the Cup was a little slow to start with. And I reckon the AC40 stuff brought it back to life. And now, that the rest of the Louis Vuitton was unreal, but it was amazing, and it's been the best thing ever. It really has. I mean, you and I can't say that, least, because we get paid by another event, but it has been amazing.
Yeah, I think the coolest part is like the fleet racing for the qualies, and then you get a bit of match racing for the final. I think we'd all like to see a little bit more match racing in the final.
Yeah,
it's pretty harsh to have a sudden death.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we all think it's pretty cool to be able to fleet race 6 boats, and it kind of feels like match racing at times. Like as soon as there's a little bit of separation, you got to switch between the mindsets of racing. So it's a pretty cool aspect, and like the boundaries as well. Like it's a lot of the first time that we all race with boundaries. I had some insights from people on the team, which was good. But yeah, it adds so many aspects to it that the Cup has, and you throw an extra 4 boats in the race course, and it just adds a lot of entertainment, I think.
There's a lot going on.
As you know, we had the lads on last week talking about their experience. Did you really pick their brains as well? Were they in addition to the whole experience, obviously getting on the boat first?
Take that one, Sarah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they've been super helpful. They've been a bit of a shore crew this week, which has been nice. Yeah, been picking their brains the whole way through, and like we've been a squad all together this whole time. So I think we still have that mentality that we're not just the youth and women's team. We've always been just like the Andrew Team Australia together.
100%.
So keeping that mindset, like we've been able to help each other with so much. So it's been really good.
It's quite good. I come off the water on our training days and I like beeline for Tom Needham, and I'm like, Tom, need to sit down. This happened, this happened, this happened. Help me out, bro. Like, what are we doing? And he's like,
and he's happy to talk.
yeah. So I mean, it was quite handy. And then like on our last day, we thought it was gonna be really wavy. So then I had Max. I was like, Max, refresh my memory. What's important? What's important? So it was like quite cool to have, those sounding boards. But it's quite stressful having to watch them as well on that windy day trying to drive.
Parents.
Yeah, we were so stressed. We're like, oh, the kids, are they going to be? What are they doing?
Yeah, we did the same thing.
Well, you did, Jordan.
Oh, it was very frustrating to watch. But I think it just shows you it's hard. That's the gist of it. If you're a keyboard warrior and sit and look at it and criticise, then you probably don't understand how hard the sailing is, and the difference in the levels. So I don't think anyone, certainly not from us, would be looking at you guys just giving you grief. We were just frustrated for you when you didn't, when things didn't go wrong. Like, you had a few things go wrong throughout your regatta, but you had some great stuff go right, like that. When you had the win, I think race 2, were you OCS on that start, and you kicked out to the right, and then just came out and then just extended. You just kept going and going. Like it was insane. Tacking off to the right was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably a big learning from the youth, and I mean all of the 40 racing beforehand as to how to kill your penalty.
Yes.
So as soon as we heard penalty over the comms, we killed it pretty quickly. Whereas the Spanish, I think they had a penalty 2 off the start, and they held for another 15 seconds, and like we killed it by footing off, and then you kill it quite a lot by tacking and having like a wide exit. And then as soon as we had a wide exit, we just wound back up and got straight back into the swing of things, and managed to stay in phase and get to the top mark and extend pretty much.
So, on that
basic rule of sailing.
Yeah, exactly.
Get in front and increase your lead. Pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
On the whole boundary stuff, what's the software on board that tells? Is there something telling you you're at the boundary, or you've got a countdown, or can you see it like visually? How's that work? Just for the listener.
All of it above. We have countdown to the boundary. Obviously, that changes depending on like wind shift and boat speed. So it calculates it with like your current boat speed. So if you're building speed before the tack, then you got to think about that, how quickly it's going to change. But it gives you distance as well, and you've also got a map, so you can see the zone. Gives you time to zone. It pretty much gives you all the data that you need. You just can't look at all of it at once, I guess.
There's no excuse for boundary penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no excuse.
Exactly. As soon as people were getting boundary penalties, it was like, we cannot do that.
Yeah.
We got very close once, and Olivia had the wheel, and you're like 3, 2, and I'm like, turn the yard.
Yeah. I was like, I need to count this down because she needs to know when to whip it.
Just like,
Whip it.
Yeah.
According to Jody Shields, I mean, you can see the sponsors' banners. They string up all around. The little Spanish dudes put around.
Yeah, just don't hit the banner. Yeah. Basically.
Yeah.
With the width of the course, so like how wide is it? Because we hear the length changing all the time, but I'm interested how wide it is. Like it's relative, is there between points on the harbour or something? Is it half the width of the harbour, or how tight are you running?
It's pretty wide.
Yeah, it's pretty wide. Like you could probably do, depending on the shift on the course, you could probably do 2 and in, like just 2 tacks for a left turn, maybe. But I mean, like when you have 6 boats, you have to do quite a few more because you can't just like bang the boundaries. And you don't really want to be doing that anyway. So I don't know the actual distance of it. But the shortest the course got was like 0.9 of a nautical mile.
Yeah.
And our races were quite quick because on our second day of racing, so like the third day of the women, they were trying to do 8 races in a day. They're trying to get pool A and pool B done because of the forecast. So we're doing battery management. So normally you would have 2 batteries for a 4 race day, but they said you only get 1 battery.
Oh.
and then they were trying to spin it around quickly. So instead of like 20-minute racing, it went to 15, and then by the time we got racing, it was like 12-minute races.
Wow.
So it went pretty quickly.
Yep.
So obviously the course is changing because of that. But yeah, the 12-minute races were just insane. And then we get to the third race, and it's like, guys, we don't have much battery left. And then they're like, oh, don't worry, pool A has been cancelled. And I was like, oh, could have been using the traveller more.
Hey, I think, Laura, you just said to an in, like I reckon we need to mic up a few Opti kids in the next year, because I am certain you're going to hear Opti kids on their little boats going 1 and in. It's going to be the call for little Opti kids.
Packing in 3, 2, 1.
Copy.
Your will. Oh, hang on, my tiller. Hang on, that's me.
Your bailing bucket.
You got to add the board down in.
Yeah.
Board down.
I mean, the language is going to change because of this regatta. There's no doubt in my life that the things that you'll hear in the boat part will evolve from what you
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
It's going to be hilarious. So much fun.
Hey, can I just go back to the Australian element? Like you were talking about, there's so many Aussies involved in all these different teams, and hopefully this is the nucleus. What's it going to take for us to build the ultimate Aussie team? But you're not allowed to say money.
Oh, interesting. More Crocs?
Crocs.
Yeah.
No, is it like building this not loyalty, it's just this national pride? Culture. I mean, you guys have taken a massive step towards that.
I think ultimately, like, if you're a competitive sailor, you want to be involved in a campaign that you believe in. And I think that's, money can buy you boats and people and designers and all that stuff. So that's important, obviously. But I think, but knowing that you're going into a team that you believe that can win. And I think, like, when you look at the competitive sailors that are sprinkled across other teams that have an Australian passport, I think ultimately they want to win. And I think for me as well, like, I want to be part of a campaign that I believe we can win. And I thought that we could, and obviously we fell short this time, but like, if you've got, the right people there, we've got the right resources, we've got the right culture that we think that we can take it all the way, then I think you're going to get more buy-in than a team where you're like, oh, I don't know if they can really do it. So that's my personal opinion, but I don't know. You guys probably have an opinion too.
Personally, for me, it's an investment in the future. Like, we're seeing Ben at the moment, like, first time the English have been in a America's Cup final since the 60s. But this is Ben, undoubtedly one of the best yachties in the world. His third crack under the UK banner. Like, it takes time. It's not as though it's just something that's going to, happen straight away. So you need to invest in the timing. So for me, I guess that's one of the biggest things. It's not just a flash in the pan. It's more, you got to build the grassroots, so to speak, or build the base and then build from there. Hats off. This is exactly going back to Jordan's comment. You guys are the ones that put this together to start with, that I think is a massive base for Australia going forward.
Yeah, very spot on.
The other thing that comes into play, the way it's pretty male dominated currently, the Cup.
Just a little bit.
Really?
The evolution of our sport, we see it now with our youth, it's just women compete equally, particularly on cup boats, and in fact probably have an advantage because they're lighter weight, still able to do all the same things but at a lighter weight. So that suddenly on a falling boat gives you an advantage. I reckon next cup cycle or the one after, we're probably going to see equal numbers in mixed crews. I'm interested how that's going to play out, and I reckon that comes into Australia's favour because Australian women seem to be really good at everything. So, I genuinely
Stop it.
That's why I married a Kiwi. But, you know, like it does
His
play.
name's Bruce.
Yeah, nah.
Dolly the sheep. You know, I think that plays, let's just say the Southern Hemisphere, it plays into the Southern Hemisphere, you know, because we've got our female get out there and get shit done. So I'm really interested to see if that will play out as well. Plays to our strength. So we need to get an Australian team together. That's basis of this whole, we're getting around and beating around a circle. Are we that close? Do you think is there any rich people floating around getting excited?
There's a couple.
Okay.
But I think it, you know, there's been quite a big group of people here cheering us on and checking it out and kind of sticking their nose in and being like, what would this take? But I think them being here is gone kind of two ways. One is like, oh, this is really exciting, I want to be part of it. And then the other is like, oh, there's a lot of money involved to be part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The realization.
What's Larry Ellison's famous words? Remember, Bicey, you were telling this story with he was
America's Cup's cheap.
Cheap. America's Cup's cheap.
Well, you look at all we need is someone who's got enough money that their interest per year pays for the cup. So it should be pretty easy, right?
Yeah.
We'll find a few of them kicking around.
The gist of the story is for Ellison, when he was building his cup team, he was building a super yacht at the same time, and the costs of the checks he was writing at the end of each month, it was cheaper for the cup team than it was for the super yacht. So he was sort of saying running a cup team's pretty cheap. He didn't understand why more people didn't do it. So
there we go. That's our pitch. Look at Sarah, and she's got the best presentation skills. So,
maybe walk down the dock at Marina Port. What's it called? Port Vale.
Port Vale.
And just handing out brochure. You think your super yacht's expensive? I've got a cheaper option. America's Cup team. Let's go.
There are some pretty big super yachts around, that's for sure.
You got to say that's pretty impressive down there, and like all the people that are there, what you see in the amount of money around is just mind-boggling.
So,
in the one place.
In the one place, yeah. So what? Yeah. You know, that sort of opens up a whole discussion. So what are the favourite things around it that you've seen? You know, like you guys are seasoned sailors, you've been travelling and doing regattas all around the world, but the Cup is different. And what are some of the favourite things that you've experienced because of the Cup?
I mean, the super yacht's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty cool to see a lot of the city get around it too. They had the opening last night for the America's Cup. So they had a full show and drone light show, and the beach, like for kilometers, was just full of people. Like on the beach, on the walkway, everyone just staring at this one show, announcing the opening of the America's Cup. And I think as well, like seeing the history of it all, and being here for it and being a part of that too was pretty cool. And you kind of realize how long this has been going for, and then you put in perspective, like this is the first ever women's regatta. And in the briefing that we had, that Abby and Mel, the race in the race committee. So it was just like the realization of how important it is. And then you see people in Barcelona on the street just being a part of it, and you go, sailing has such a rich history. And I guess we're just making more history too. So,
especially in that part of the world, is it what you expected? You would have been sort of building up to this for the last year, and then you get there, and obviously it's all about the regatta. But what about the outside, the walking around? Was it what you expected?
I think the dock out was next level.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know, when you're doing your normal sailing, you kind of you've got to carry your own wheels up or you're trolling up the beach, and nobody cares until it's over. And then here it's like you haven't even done anything, and there's 100 people with Aussie flags and horns and boom boxes, and you're like, oh, this is like, we were so afraid to screw up the dock off because we couldn't hear each other. But it was, that was pretty incredible, and they're all getting behind the teams. And then we had a presentation on stage, like at the race village, where two from each team go up. And, the amount of people that were there to like cheer us on, and cheer all the teams on and be excited about that. I don't know, it was pretty unreal for me to see. And I think that's what makes the Cup so special is, in a lot of sailing, I mean, it is serious. We take ourselves very seriously, but like even like we went out to do the competition, but even the Cup teams get these insane dock offs. And when they come in, all the yachts are beeping their horns and, the whole 5-kilometer radius is just taken over. And I think that's like the grandeur of the Cup is like, it's insane.
It must be funny. Like, oh no, I'd be doing like if you say there's people for a 5-kilometer radius. I'd be hanging out my pass, going backstage pass, let me through, backstage pass. You're doing all that sort of stuff. People recognise that you're part of the start. You're part of the show.
I think if we're in uniform and we have our accreditation, but a few times we probably should have brought our accreditation to prove it. They wouldn't let us in 10 minutes early into the race village. Because we didn't have it. We're like, no, we're a team. They're like, yeah, we understand that, but you don't have a pass.
Of course you are.
I wonder.
Traditionally, Aussies around the globe follow, a lot of sporting events. Were there a lot of Aussie flags in the crowd?
There was a lot of Aussie flags, but also we adopted a lot of internationals as well. Yeah. That kind of just like wandered into the event. They're like, what's this? And, we had a few strong personalities in our support team and they just took them on. They gave them a flag. They've adopted them.
You'll see some flags around Barcelona for the next year, I reckon.
That's cool.
Everyone wanted to be an Aussie. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
What about on that point as well? Like, I'm interested with the correspondence you would have got from family and friends, like you would have got all the messages and all that sort of stuff. But I'm wondering, if you had a bad race, was it annoying? Did you ever get annoyed or everyone was just super positive?
You mean on the water?
No. Just after racing, like.
Or the feedback.
Yeah.
The feedback.
Yeah, that, because everyone wants to be involved in some way, so.
I mean, it was all pretty positive. I don't know if anyone got any hate messages, but I certainly didn't. It was more just like everyone was really proud of us, which was so nice. But I was like, but we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve. So it was hard to accept that. But to know, there's this cat regatta at Foster every long weekend in October and they had it on the projector. And I remember as a kid going to this and you'd have the AFL grand final and the NHL grand final. And then the next day it was us on the projector. And, I thought that was pretty cool because I was like, they're all getting around it. And I had so many messages from, that everyone was just so happy to see us racing. And I think that was pretty cool. And what I'm excited about is to see the impact it will have beyond us. Obviously with the girls, and you've spoken about it, you heard how chatty everyone is on the water and woo-hooing when we win a race. And I was like, I don't know how that's going to come across, but everyone was like, it was great. Normally listen to the guys and they're like, it was cool. And we're like,
good race.
So
show some personality, guys. Saving's fun.
That's it. Yes.
Too staunch.
Yep.
At least the Americans gave the odd high five, but that was about it.
Yeah. Actually, we'll be talking about Wildcat later on in the program, Lise, just so you know.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
What are the rumours you've heard on the ground, given that your campaign's going to continue on? Where are you going to be racing next?
Off the UK win, where does it?
Are you going to be racing in the Solent? Are the Kiwis going to be taking it to the Middle East? The Pom's going to keep it in Barcelona. What's the word on the street?
The lowdown.
You've got all the inside.
I mean, you've kind of hit a few already, but I guess when Ineos qualified for the final, it was kind of like, okay, well, it's going to turn around pretty quickly for both teams, we think. The other thing that we're interested parties that they're pretty pro women sailing, so we think that the Women's America's Cup will continue. The rumor is that we could be back in Barcelona in 2 years
if New Zealand win. And
then the other two you've already hit is we could find ourselves in the Middle East, or we could be back in the Solent racing around the Isle of Wight and an AC40. So either option's okay.
I wonder. It'd be interesting to know behind closed doors what the agreement is between the holder and the challenger of record, whether they have said, okay, if we win, we're going to go down this path. Well, if either of us win, obviously if one of the others, so which is the case now, right? So we got the Kiwis, the holder, and then the challenger record.
It's the Poms.
I wonder if there's a behind closed doors
Discussion.
an agreement.
I think something's definitely between the cup teams. They know something because obviously they all get kicked out at some point, but they're all still
there now, right?
They're all training out on the water, and they're putting different people on their boats. They're putting, some of the youth team are having a go. I mean, it's not an easy day to put a 75 out on the water. So the fact that I think all of the teams, once they got kicked out from the cup, have still been training or just going out on the water, it indicates that they think that there's still a reason to be out there. I mean, obviously they're fun boats to sail, but I think that there's a little bit more to it. So, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Do any of you guys have dual passports?
I have a couple.
What have you got?
I've got Maltese and British.
Oh, you're a Malteser. Yes.
I am a Malteser.
And British.
I could get British, but it's not much use anymore.
Okay.
Too true there. Too true.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
I know. I'm just trying to work out if an Australian thing doesn't come up, like multiple passports is a benefit at the moment. So I was just interested, that's all. Does that mean, because what it leads to, for example, is could you wander over to one of the training teams, say, I've got a passport for this country, can I go for a blast on the 75?
I'm not sure if there's going to be a Maltese team.
Well, there was at one point.
Really?
I think it was after Bermuda. There was like a full Maltese. Everyone was like, "It's happening," and I was like, "Citizenship in, like, let's go." But I don't know. Like, we think the nationality rule is going to be pretty tight next time.
Yep.
That's kind of the other rumor. Potentially even tighter than we've seen, which would be pretty harsh. But I don't know. I'm too Aussie. I don't know if I could go anywhere else.
I was about to say, if the nationality rule, increases anymore, hopefully they will just come back.
Yeah.
And we get a bit of momentum behind us. But
yeah.
But I could take on the 75 if I got the option.
Yeah.
Yeah. The chance to go on the 75. Look, hands up. If you had a chance, but you had to be a cyclor, would you do it?
Not if you're putting me on the American boat.
Only the American, because you get to lie down.
No. Nah.
So bad.
There's no watts producing out of these quads, but Laura's probably good.
Laura looks so happy with that idea. You're already hurting, aren't you?
Yeah, no.
You'd be different. I mean, Sarah, you probably be around as well.
A few more years, I reckon, if I had a warning that was the only option.
Liv would be great.
Yeah, Olivia Price.
She's got the cyclist legs. She's an avid bike rider.
Just see her on the leg press machine. It's
Yeah. She'd be pushing some watts.
Yeah. She'd be telling the pump to spin just with aggression.
Yeah.
So one of the things we haven't discussed here, boys, we've had a real opportunity. It's a shame that they didn't have a used to be past it America's Cup, where people like us. Can you imagine if we'd made that team and we get into the room with Abby and she's got to debrief us? Like, we'd be booted out of the cup before we'd even got going because she would just have us straight out the door, I reckon.
Well, we wouldn't be allowed in to start it. So.
Abby is she's
a fellow bar Radian.
Yeah, she's a great friend. So from now on, how do we keep it together? Like you guys are all going to finish up. You go home soon, watch the cup, go home. We've all got other things to go to. How does it stay together? Is there a plan for that, or is it just hope at this stage?
I think there is certainly a plan. We've got some pretty cool board members that are pretty passionate about, first of all, women in sailing, but then also just keeping this thing going. I mean, there's probably a pretty big debrief process that we need to look at of what we would do differently, and if we had 2 years, if we had 4 years, what we would do. So there's definitely passion there, and I think that's kind of like the number one thing that you need when you're starting a team from the ground, really, people to drive. So look, we really don't know what the future holds, and I think it really depends on what's next for the cup, and that will help. But we've got to try to keep the momentum now and refreshing people's heads. So yeah, we don't know. We're all pretty keen to have this thing continue, and we'll certainly be having conversations. But
yeah, it's like the hard yards have been put in to build it from the ground up. And yeah, like as Lisa said, you just got to keep the momentum going. And it's probably, we're in a good position now to keep it rolling and keep pushing and hopefully bring more people into it as well to keep building up this, mountain that we're creating.
It's also about like a legacy, because we want. Yeah, I mean, you guys touched on that. It's like the grassroots. You've got to keep building this foiling generation, so that in 3 cups time, we've got a really solid team still. And I think, we had quite a few applicants that went down to sort of 20, and then we cut down again, and then had to cut down again for the boat. But like, I think trying to get more people exposed to like this sort of level of sailing is also part of the goal of the team. And so like what that looks like in terms of foiling camps and stuff for the future, like so many kids and teenagers and 20-year-olds will be pretty excited to get involved, I think. So we just got to keep upskilling so that when we're ready to go, we're ready to go.
The Magenta project started out basically like this. You should have a chat to Abby when you get a chance, just to see how they sort of manage that growth period and the next stage. It obviously means if it's going to keep going that, we did see some modelling photos of you guys doing the Maya catalogue thing, so is there a future on the runway? Is that part of the program?
We think Sarah is our...
Oh.
We're all 163 and she's like, what, 183? So she's definitely got the modelling.
She's teaching us all some model faces. She can she can pull them whenever she wants, and she's always getting everyone in the moment for the photo shoots.
I think if it draws some more sponsors in, I'll do what it takes.
Within reason. Within reason.
Model coach.
Sarah, you're studying law. You've got to put
Jordan's got a few
in.
tips.
Yeah.
But he's, well, no. Sorry, mate.
No.
I was going to chuck you under the bus there, but I won't. Cool. But, coach on the water, off the water, on the catwalk, doesn't matter. He can do it all. Jordan Spencer.
It is a pretty cool adventure you guys have been on, and one of the things that I find interesting, like our little threesome we have here, we've all got these little surprising talents. BP, wherever he rocks up, he's got 2 amazing talents. He'll pass out anywhere in any park in any part of the world. But then he also, you'll walk into a bar and he's up on stage playing, with the band, playing instruments. I should phrase that correctly. Is there any surprising talents you've discovered amongst yourselves?
Oh, I think Sarah's probably the most surprising one out of all of us. Oh, she's the quiet soul in the team, but she comes out with some great one-liners, and she's definitely the most organized too. She keeps us in line.
Love it.
I think Annie is also a little speaker. She'll randomly kick up and come out with some
Zoe Thompson,
our DJ.
Yes.
Song of the day every day since we've been here, since the 8th of September. Appropriate to the day.
Right.
So
Dock off playlist.
So it was next level and very important to the campaign.
Was she also? Did you have a specific dock out song, or
we did.
Do tell?
It's called Bad Gals.
Bad Girls.
You'll have to play it. It's really great.
It starts off: live fast, die young. Bad girls do it well. So
hey Google, play Bad Girls.
There's a few versions.
Well, I got something different going on here.
That's your algorithm, Boise.
Oh dear. Yes. Nice.
No, just jokes.
Oh, Missy
Wow,
Elliott.
hey?
Yeah, cool.
What an experience though, guys. And look, that was the coolest thing to watch from my point of view. I loved it. I'm doing a lot of traveling right now, but every time the racing was on, I made sure I was there glued in. So it was great to watch.
Glad you enjoyed it. We had so much fun, except sometimes I didn't know like what we finished because I was so head down. I go, I think we finished second in that race. Oh, awesome.
Love it.
Or where we are on the racetrack. Guys, this is the last leg.
Are we rounding up?
Yeah.
So what's your
going round and
program?
round and
How
round.
you sticking around to the end of the cup, or?
I'm here for the weekend and then I'm going to turn off for a week and then head back to Australia, which would be good.
Yeah, watch a little bit of the 75 racing while we're here. May as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
it's been quite cool. Like I went after we got kicked out, yesterday I went to the dock out for the Kiwis because we were actually using the Kiwi boat and the girls gave us a good hand. So I wanted to go cheer them on. So it didn't work. Obviously they had a pretty rough day yesterday. So I'm not going today. I'm going to let them do their thing and make sure they get in that top 3.
Yeah.
All for our
particularly-
Cuzzy bros.
Yeah, they're a particularly good bunch of humans, that team. There's some great people on that team. So therefore our final question has to be really the tips you need. So who's going to win the Women's Cup and then who's going to win the America's Cup?
Yep. One at a time.
Yeah, you all have to answer. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, all of you.
And Sarah, I'm expecting a lot from you because they said that, you just bring out the hit with one line. So I'm intrigued as to what you're going to have.
I haven't had coffee yet.
You're allowed to get it wrong.
I'm going to go. You can go first. I'll go last.
I mean, the Italians have been pretty quick, and we know that they're a strong team. Led by Julia, and I think, depending on the conditions, if it's a bit lighter, anything can happen, and it all depends on who can execute on the day. But yeah, I'll definitely be expecting the Italians to at least be in the final. And who knows who else? Yeah, hoping the Kiwis.
Yep. And then in the AC itself, the big boats.
I mean, I think Ineos have pulled out a lot of their cards in the Louis Vuitton. So I'm expecting the Kiwis to come out all guns blazing with hopefully a few things up their sleeve and definitely backing them as well.
New Falls and Rudder I saw last night.
Oh,
yeah,
exciting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have my own thoughts. Anyway, keep moving.
Sarah, what do you got?
I think I'm definitely rooting for the Kiwi girls to hopefully pull something through, but I think the Italians are pretty dominant. So they'll definitely, like you said, be in that match race final. But Kiwi girls could pull something out, and that would be really cool. In the main cup, definitely the Kiwis. There's an Aussie on board there, so it's got to be them.
Yeah, everyone thinks the Kiwis, but I'm going to go Ineos. It's going to go back to Britain after 173 years. Why not? We're making history. Let's make some more. Yeah. And then in the women's, I'm also the Italians. They're just, we saw them in the youth. The women are pretty slippery around the racetrack as well. So they're dominant.
You're spot on, and the UK women's team looks pretty bloody good as well. The British team, but I think you're right, Lise. The Ineos team is. I think Ineos is. I'm willing to be wrong, but they're looking pretty amazing at the moment. So yeah, interesting. Happy days, hey?
Bit of a vibe around too. I've got to tell you.
What's that?
I'm right in the heart of it. I'm right in the heart of it here in Hamble and Southampton, and it's a bit of vibe around.
Yeah.
Is it, BP, do tell us then, is it a bit of a, like, people put on their kind of, their different uniforms? Given you're in Hamble, are they pulling on their Dubarrys, putting on their Arrakis,
the red,
heading down to the King and Queen?
The boots and the Arrakis, mate, it's just a good vibe. I mean, I think they've kind of not, it's not what they didn't not expect to be there, but they're kind of going, wow. We're here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
I mean, it's...
Yeah, absolutely.
I think looking at their progress, like from August, when we watched them in August, we were like analyzing every team's comms because they're like, what do we need to adopt? And then you're listening to the British and you're like, oh God, it's shambles. Like, and now like seeing their improvement, A, on the boat, like just their decision making, but B, like their package is obviously improved. You're like, there must be some good people in the room making decisions to help them out. So who knows?
You can see you can see some of the things that are going on. It's very clear, but it's been good. But the thing is that Kiwi team is awesome as well. So it's two really awesome teams. It's going to be unreal to watch, almost as good as watching you guys go out there sailing. You know, it was so much fun. It was so joyful for us, and I really want to see an AC40 back in Australia and everyone having a go and getting this continues and hopefully an Australian Cup team. But we guys, I think I can say clearly everyone in Australia loves what you guys have done and we're so proud and we're very, very happy for you. Can't wait to see the next Myer modelling catalogue come out. And,
Emotion. Good one.
Thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Cheers.
And we had a lot of fun doing it too.
Yeah.
Without no doubt about that.
All right. See you, everyone.
Guys, super proud. What a cool bunch of people. You know, I've got to say the effort that has gone into this particular project behind the scenes with the entire team, the management, the fundraisers, the sponsors as well, which didn't really get a big mention. Everyone that's involved in this thing, the effort has been huge. And I was lucky enough to go to one of their training nights and see how hard they're all working. And I touched on it a couple of times where, you know, the work that they'd done in the lead up was just phenomenal, but then it's done in 3 days. You know what I mean? It was like, did they get a, were they able to stop and take a step back and actually, you know what I mean? It's like, fuck, all that work. And, not just not making the finals, or that's not the issue here. The issue is the amount of work that went in for 3 or 4 days of sailing. It was huge. And I think we need to try and get that point across.
Well, maybe that may change given that there's probably going to be an AC40 heading to Australia.
Yeah.
There's enough people involved. There's enough potential there. There's enough excitement. And hopefully we're doing our bit.
You know, the other thing I reckon that'll happen is the race organisers, you know, the people running the Cup, would undoubtedly have watched the hype that's come from both the youth and the women's and gone, this is going well.
No question.
So they'll make it a bigger program,
like a world tour. A world tour.
No, they'll just make it a bigger program. So but maybe a world tour. I think they're definitely trying to do that. But yeah,
you're drinking a Bloody Mary, Brett Perry.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend.
Bravo.
Dear.
Well done.
Very cool.
Well done.
As I said to you off air, it's America's Cup Day as I'm recording.
Derby day, exactly. Yeah.
And that kind of is a nice segue actually, because as I said, we're roving reporters. I'm doing something a bit different. I'm living in a combi van, so I'm living in a combi van.
You've always been a bit of a hippie, BP, and now you are legitimate.
But let me tell you, this is where Radix comes in. I roll out of bed in the morning and I smash open a breakfast and I have Radix for breakfast, sitting there watching the scenes. I've parked my car at the marina here down in Banana Wharf at Hamble Yacht Services, and I smash a Radix because I can.
Followed by a Bloody Mary.
What are you doing? Are you just going the original breakfast range? You go on the ultra breakfast range? You go on the keto breakfast range? You go on the low FODMAP breakfast range?
I'm on the 400 calorie small one because it's enough for me.
Yep.
Smash it with a bit of milk, give it a bit of a shake, and let it sit for 5 minutes, and I'm away.
Part of the original plan, that one, the original range.
Yeah.
Wow, It's amazing what you can choose because, You're lucky though, BP. That's why you look so much better than Bicey on the camera here. You're having a fast, healthy, complete nutrition meal for breakfast. Bicey, you need to step it up.
No, I'm broken. I had 6 beers and a couple of gin tonics. and
Toby drove home.
And a skirt behind the yacht.
Oh, dear. All right.
No, it's true. I'm maximising my performance through my health, and that's how it is.
That's good, man. And if anybody else wants to do that, then just jump onto Radix Nutrition. Obviously, use Bar Karate as the discount code and get a discount on us. Sydney Hobart building up. You'll all be starting to load up about now. Middle Sea Race. There should be plenty going on.
Oh, shit. That reminds me.
Let's go on to the news events. The Ocean 50s, boys. We've been so focused on the Cup, we haven't mentioned the 50s. It's their final act. It's the grand final starting in a couple of days, October 16 through 20. The fleet will race in the Gulf of Saint-Tropez.
St. Tropez.
They're going to be based in...
St. Tropez.
Yep, St. Tropez. Going to be based in St. Maxime.
St. Maxim and St. Tropez.
And there will be 4 days of racing action, both inshore and longer offshore courses. For the inshore stuff, there's going to be 5 on board, and for the offshore stuff, 3 on board. So it is the grand final, big one.
Not bad.
Yeah. So do like the Ocean 50s. Good luck to everyone racing in that. Also, another big one this week. Everyone switch on. The Middle Sea Race starts the 19th of October. So
huge. I love that race so much. Well, it's a hard race, but it's a great race.
Yeah.
I've just got this feeling, guys. The Med has tucked up quite a bit of weather in recent times. The Middle Sea Race has been quite benign, one would say. In recent years. I've just got this feeling they're in for a bit of a shellacking.
Shellacking.
Yeah. So let's keep a close eye on things. Absolutely. But Middle Sea Race, one of the great races, one of the great 600s around the world. So, bring it on. Let's see how they go. Obviously, a pretty stellar lineup, but we'll cover all that next week. Winners and grinners.
Yeah, cool.
All right.
Obviously fired up for that one. And then the other one that is happening, and just get your registrations ready, the Colac Regatta. So if you're in Oz, you've got a dinghy, and you're down in southern eastern Australia, head to Colac. That's a proper Aussie name. December 6 to 8. Registrations are open. Just thought I'd tell people. But
for all the tradies out there, that's not the Colac Hotel in Port Adelaide.
That's what I was about to say.
There's some other sort of regatta goes on a Friday afternoon.
Around about 4:30, called happy hour.
Oh dear. All right.
The Colac Hotel, Port Adelaide.
Boys, it's time to go to the Jack Lloyd listener of the week. We have just awarded the listener of the month thanks to Vycobi. Young Lawson sent a pretty fired up email. He was pretty happy. I'll come back to that
email.
one. Come back to that one in a minute. But yeah, so remember, if it's still going, like technically our contract ran out, but Pat's loving it. He's a massive fan of the show. And he was very happy with the banter last week. So it's still going. We haven't got anything in writing, but I'm just saying we're going for another. There'll still be another couple $100 worth of Vycobi gear in a month's
without
time.
a doubt.
Without a doubt.
So listeners out there, send your stuff in. We love hearing from you.
We do.
Keep it coming, especially maximum banter.
Maximum banter.
Oh, maximum banter. But can I run one? Can I put one forward?
Yeah.
Gents, in theme of we talked about the Crocs on the
on the app.
On the
lot of Croc
photo with
action.
the Andu, and it was so cool, wasn't it? So it's kind of in theme, and it's from a very, very one of our biggest listeners, Mark Disney, who love him, and he's a weapon of a listener. But let me read this out to you. So I listen avidly to the podcast and take on board all points raised each week and try to apply them to better myself generally. Well done to the countless guests
Listening
who've
to
made
the wrong
voting better.
podcast, Mark.
Yeah. Well done to those who've made voting better, more engaging and safer for us all, smiley face. But the J-Dog and his idiots have gone heavy in recent months about sun safety and the advent of the Crocs. Love it. So it's high summer here in the UK, and I've followed the high summer in the UK. That's it. Doesn't really work, does it?
Easy, mate. It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah. And I've followed the old school rule of slip, slop, slap with putting the latest SPF long sleeve top on, putting zinc cream on my ears and nose, and putting a hat on to protect my aging and balding head. I've even started wearing long trousers to protect my legs. Well, he's going all out. But then I go and follow the advice of the idiot mates and buy a pair of Crocs.
I know where this is going.
I see where this is going.
A weekend of sailing is followed by a long and awkward conversation with my current wife when I come home with the brown spots all over my feet. No, it's not monkeypox, I promise. No, I haven't been anywhere that I shouldn't have been in the last few months. No, I haven't had any close or vigorous contact with anyone that I shouldn't have. No, I haven't been hanging out with guys when I went to San Francisco last month. Being that, the current wife and I, now both north of 52, the menopause for the current wife is not exactly helping with my negotiation skills in my plight of explaining my abnormal marks on my feet. Thanks, fellas, he says. Much love and tar for now. While I deal with the current shitstorm, thanks to the encouragement to buy a pair of Crocs. So what he's done, he's gone out, slapped on the sunscreen, slapped on a hat, cracked on a sun shirt, but forgot to put sun cream on his feet.
You know,
and has got sunburn through the Crocs.
Maybe I've just had an idea, boys. You know, all the little things they clip on the
Gibbets.
Gibbets. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Gibbets.
Gibbets. And people have suggested bar karate ones. Why don't we do a little
sun shirt for the Croc?
No, a little umbrella with the logo bar karate. Little tiny umbrellas over each hole.
I love it.
How good
Mate,
would that look?
You could just BP take that umbrella out of that Bloody Mary you're drinking right now and start doing a trial.
Stick it in your foot. Walk around with umbrellas over the hole so you don't get sunburned.
Oh, I love
Beauty.
it. Yeah.
Mark, thanks very much, Mark Disney. It did bring a smile to my face, considering we were talking about Crocs in the show. But it makes sense.
Yep. Well, the Crocs, it doesn't in there because Ben Crosby, in a piece of miraculous timing, sent an email with some photos straight off the New Zealand boat. He said Crocs are taking over the cup. Well, we've already proved that, Ben, but it's good that you've joined in, mate. And you sent us a whole bunch of photos from the screen. So thank you for doing that. We appreciate everything that comes in. But, yeah, it's a big Croc weekend. So the cup
It's a Croc off.
Yeah, it's a Croc off.
A Croc fest.
Yeah.
No doubt about
Everyone's
it.
wearing a Croc top. No, Croc bottom. No.
Croc pot.
Croc pot.
Crocs.
All right, another email that I do want to mention, Bicey, because you get a good mention here. Brett Osborne.
Yes.
Long-time listener, first-time typer. At least Bicey
Large Space Owen Club legend.
Yeah. At least Bicey has moved on from giving late-night radio host shit on the phone.
That's another story.
Seeing how long before getting disconnected to sitting on the other side of the fence, hey? Who am I? A long-time larg sailor, long-time Sharpie sailor, but past that now and happily sitting in the back of a TS16. Good on you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's cool.
Portaloo, on a Portaloo.
Yeah. Sailed with and against Bicey in the younger days and probably against Jordan and Fritz over the years. Anyway, reason for my message, I'm just sitting on the plane from Hobart back to Adelaide listening to the chat with Zvonko about the IOM, the 1 metre worlds. Literally just over a week away, everyone. I've been sailing 1 metres for years and also radio Marblehead. Think of a Sharpie long and skinny and loves a straight line. Thanks for the publicity on the 1 metre worlds. I'll be there not as a sailor, but as one of the race officers for the event. After doing race officer duties at the National Champs here in Adelaide earlier this year at Hart's Mill in Port Adelaide. I must say it's hard not to want to push some of the guys off the edge of the wharf with their antics. Looking forward to catching up, Jordan, in Happy Rock, Gladstone. Also, Bossy, I've got a spare 1 metre in the cupboard. If you're back in Adelaide looking to have a crack one Sunday, enjoy the banter on the podcast. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Brett. Thanks
Lovely
for writing in,
words.
mate. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is lovely. You should just go and borrow that, boss, because there's Wheatbix has got spare bed up in Gladstone, and he said,
Hello.
Yeah, boys. Why don't you go to the Worlds, mate?
Well, I could get the elbows out on the shore. There's no doubt about that.
I reckon you could.
Oh, dear. Okay, do we want to mention there is one other email that I think our listeners would probably I won't read it word for word, but I just want to 18-foot skiff.
18-foot skiffs are back.
No, they've written to us. They've written to us.
Yep. And I've responded to that, actually.
Yeah, I knew you'd respond to it straight away. It's good, mate.
Well, because
you're excited.
As I said earlier, boss, we're roving reporters on the big ones, the big events. So why stop at the cup?
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get involved. Let's get involved with the 18s.
18s. It's where it's at. Love an 18. So
We've had the invite. We finally cracked it. Bar Karate coming live in the 18s, coming from you at the 18s.
Yeah. So apparently that's what's going to happen. So we're going to be doing some of the commentary. They've asked us to join occasionally. I wonder how it'll go, but I hope it goes well.
I think we should make a concerted effort that once a month we all meet on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And we go out on the reporting boat, the three of us, and we do it.
Once a month.
Well, why not?
Because two of us don't live in Sydney, you goose.
Yeah, but we could raise the funds.
Good in theory. The 18s are back on.
We've sold 30 jumpers now. We might be able to make, afford it.
Yeah. All right. Good buddy. Look, if you like the 18s, jump on and watch the 18 TV. It's great fun. Their season's back, and yeah, maybe we'll let you know if we do. One of us does jump on and has a go, but it'll be fun. And I appreciate the invite from the 18-foot league. It's very cool.
Absolutely.
Worst case scenario, we should just go to presentation because that's a lot of fun. Their presentation.
We should host the presentation.
I'll ban myself and stuff like that.
All right, moving on.
You're a bit run down, aren't you, Bossy? You're a bit run down after open day, aren't you?
Time to kick it up, boss.
Get those track and dance off.
It's hot time with Bice.
I actually, funnily enough, I wore the trackies to the opening day.
Not the what?
The travel pants.
Ripped them
the
off.
travel pants.
No. Mate, what is happening this week? I think we all know.
Right.
It's the Cup.
Not much.
It is the Cup. The whole world of yachting has come to a standstill for this particular moment. And literally, at time of recording, 8 p.m. on a Saturday evening in Adelaide. So we're probably 4 hours away from seeing whether this is going to be an absolute swim through or competitive yacht racing. At time of listening for the listeners, it's who knows, 1-1,
Well,
2-0, vice versa.
It's 10:30 in the morning here in the UK. The sun is out. The mood is big. The vibe is happening. It's going to be exciting. I got to say, guys, I got to say it. I've got my Union Jack flag.
Right.
Oh.
Yep.
There you go. Jordan Spencer,
Yep.
Where's your allegiance lie?
I'm impartial. No, I don't know. I literally don't know. I don't care who wins. In all honesty, I've talked about the views. We did see an interview where Ashby, Spithill, and who else was it? I'm trying to remember now. I've got a mental blank. Anyway, another legend. All predicted a massive win by the Kiwis.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at history and you look at how much work they've put in, it's probably where your money's going to lie, right? But man, could you imagine it? Could you imagine it if it didn't happen? Oh my God!
Good times. There's a couple of things we should talk about, if you don't mind, boss. I could throw a couple of things out.
Well, no. Let's just stick with the cup for a little bit.
No, that's what I mean, the cup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Because obviously there was a bit of interest. We've talked about the B group, where we got to with B group, but the A group, we had 2 races on separate days to decide the semi-final. So we're at the semi-final stage. Now, did you guys catch those 2 races?
Negatore.
Oh, my word. So it was just insane. So race 5 was just, I mean, I've got a little brief notes if you want. I could just read them out.
Yeah, go through it, mate.
Yeah.
Go through it, because we're sort of out and about with the roving reporters. It's hard to catch all the moments.
Okay, so race 5, which was a separate day, 8 to 12 knots, massive swell, like the wind was moving right, but there was this massive cross swell, like massive. It was wiping the boats off the foils. It was unbelievable.
Big Mistral swell.
Yeah. France starts off the foils. Swiss got a penalty. The Italians were off at the pin, and New Zealand at the boat end, but was riding a swell and was flying uphill really high. The Swiss came off the foils. New Zealand hit by a wave and off the foils, then got back up. The UK late to the start, but quick uphill. US off the foils at the top mark the first time. New Zealand led from UK, Italy, and then New Zealand and UK struggled to bear away. Wind was marginal.
What a roundup. What a roundup.
Everyone was sailing side to side. Italy tacked downhill. So they, instead of jibing, they throw a tack in. New Zealand hooks a gust and takes off. Italy comes off the foils. New Zealand are about 800 metres in front, but then touch down at the bottom mark. UK come into the lead, but touch down on the jibe. So the Kiwis weren't at the bottom mark, but near. And then so the UK get to the lead, then they touch down on the jibe. Everyone down but Switzerland. The race is shortened to 3 legs. At the bottom mark, Swiss go around first. UK next, but they're off the foils. Swiss off the foils halfway up the beat. US round the bottom mark in third and falling. Swiss up and finish. Everyone else off the foils. GBR make it, as does the US. So it ended up with Switzerland, the UK, and the US in that order. And the Kiwis had a shocker, right?
That was almost as good as watching the race, Bossy.
I tell you, I may as well have just been watching it.
Okay. So it was just hilarious watching it. Everyone was coming off the falls, and those swells were just causing havoc. But basically what happened is the Swiss had a win, right? And now it's the Swiss, the Italians, and UK into the final. If that race stops, that's it, right? Okay. So remember,
here we go again, boss.
In the chat, the girls were all going, we really hope New Zealand can make it to the final. Here we go. Really, it was quite choppy, but it was only like 6 to 10 knots last night. Marginal at the start. France off the foils, keeping it consistent. US and New Zealand OCS, okay, so they have to duck back. Swiss have the best start, so they're, hello, this is it. New Zealand worst bar France. So France is just creeping around, but the New Zealand are a long way back. France have to drop out. Swiss, UK, New Zealand are the 3 boats that lead around the top mark. So Switzerland leading from the UK and New Zealand coming through the fleet, right? It stays close. And at the bottom mark, the UK moved to first. Swiss tried to tack on New Zealand, right? So New Zealand went wide. It was marginal breeze. The Kiwis went out wide and then jibed and came in, and the Swiss went and did a tack and tried to tack on them before going to the bottom mark, and they fell off the foils, right? Right? It was the stupidest manoeuvre. So they kind of lost their rudder, completely come off the foils. So the Kiwis go around in second, then Italy, then the US. At the top mark, UK and New Zealand, massive gap. And what has to happen if New Zealand finish second, then the Swiss have to be, now that the French are out, they have to finish 5th, right? And they tie, and then on countback, New Zealand win. And that's what happens because the US and the Italians whilst they come off the falls before, they come down and they get there, and the Swiss finish 5th. And because of that tack, they sat there for so long trying to get up and going. And so New Zealand make it into the semi-finals, and the Swiss must be heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken. Amazing. It was amazing to watch. Like
What
I
a
was just,
roundup. What a round. I'm heartbroken for the Swiss after that roundup.
I'm just intrigued as to. There's a couple of questions. Why are the UK team wearing green and gold helmets?
Well,
Did they steal the Aussie helmets?
there's a story there for all of us, I think.
There is a story there for all of us.
We're not sure what that story is, but there's a story.
That's it. I kind of stopped myself there and going, well, I really don't know the story.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's where we're at. So semi-final coming up, and then final of the women's, and then of course we're into the America's Cup. We're
into
there.
the big dance,
The big dance,
as they call it.
The big dance.
Yeah. But yeah, those two races were really, really interesting. Like they're just such a big movement.
I don't even need to watch a replay after that, Jordan.
Oh no, I'm not even. I've shut all forms of comms down.
Yeah.
No need.
Okay.
In actual fact, I've just put the entire 3 weeks out of that particular summary there. Did it for me, the whole thing. It was just awesome.
Okay. You want me to be a smartass?
No,
You just pick any race that's happened for the Cup, and I can give you a rundown for each and every one of them.
off the top of your head,
Off the top of my head.
from memory.
Chat GPT, right? Race report in the form of one Jordan Spencer.
Jordan chat GPT.
So just adding on to the hot time, boys, the Foster Wildcat.
Wildcat. Yeah.
Wildcats.
So do you guys know
Let's
about
not forget what's going on
We're
around
going to
the
mention
world.
it this week. Where are we at with it, Jord?
Well, it's the biggest cat regatta in Oz. Like it's on the lakes at Foster, and which is sort of central New South Wales. It's a beautiful part of the world. Lisa mentioned it in the discussion, and they limit the regatta to 85 boats because there's not that much space, so they limit the regatta to 85, and about 100 turn up. Like they just they ignore that they're not entered, and they still turn up, and they come from all around Australia. So it's quite interesting. They have like a marathon and a bit of fleet racing, and it's just a lot of fun. That whole camping out and enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love a camp.
Yeah,
Love camping out.
You got all the F-18s, the F-16s, the Hobies, the whole thing. And I just wanted to point out, in the F-16s, boys, this is a good one. The overall winner was Luke Skywalker.
Oh,
of course it was.
Yeah.
Goes without saying.
The fourth be with the fourth.
The Force. What's his boat called?
Heatwave.
May the Force.
Yeah, no. But here we go.
Obi-Wan.
Here we go. In second, sailing the Vycobi Turtle, was Katie Pellew.
Oh, Katie.
Good old Katie.
Nice.
Yes. Now, does she have any connection to the Cup?
Well, she's got a few clues.
Well, we could.
Given the marriage and family pedigree. So, shout out to Katie.
Yeah. And
For the
third
listeners
place,
out there, one Katie Pellew is Katie Spithill.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. So, yeah, very much connected. And in third place, sailing a boat called Harkin Vycobi, Grant Pellew.
Oh, no, he's doing the dishes tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was cool. There's huge fleets, massive fleets of boats. The F-18s, congrats to Matt Homan and Adrian Fawcett, and then Archie Gar get the top three in the F-18s.
Yeah, nice.
I think they're pretty cool boats. I'm getting a lot of messages from them. There's a miscellaneous fleet, so they got all sorts of different things. A lot of Narcras in that fleet, but Seamus Coakley was the winner in that one. What else? We got a boat. The Hobie 14.
That's what. Yeah.
The Dog's Breakfast one. I love a good name.
Good names. Good names.
Dog's Breakfast.
On you, Mick Butler. Bridget Boleski, good to see the women there. And Rod Waterhouse on a Hobie 14 in the hot rod, coming in third.
Bravo, Rod.
Bravo.
Bravo with the
What a
hot
bunch of names.
Oh.
Got to go and do this regatta.
I know.
In a lead up.
Speaking of multi-hulls, boys, one that I have missed last week was the multi-hull cup in Palma only a few weeks ago. Shout out to the Highland Fling crew who took it out. So, and some avid Barcaradians on that vessel too. So big one for them and a good win. So bravo.
Okay. Yeah,
bravo.
Shout out to those guys.
I just want to tell you, speaking of while we're still at the Wildcat, the Murray Cat 4.3 fleet. Remember the old Murray Cats?
Yeah.
Yep. Ducking Boys had a win. Nurse Humour came in second. Down in
Nurse
fifth.
Humour.
Nurse Humour. And down in fifth was Ducking Kinky. So Ducking Boys, Ducking Kinky. I love it. These guys are just another beast is in there. Yo Lolo. I'm into I'm into the Hobies now. Yo Lolo. Dear oh dear. It's just too much. Nacra 5.8s, the Taipans. Anyway, I reckon the Taipan sloops. I think it's probably a fair chance that we should run out and have a go and visit that at least.
Well, I'm thinking, Jordan, we should do it as a practice or a practice event for your.
Yes.
What's that race you want to go and do?
Yeah.
The raid.
The raid all around the archipelago.
Raid.
The archipelago raid.
Go and do this as a bit of a warm up because there's some big names there.
Yeah, we'd have a lot of fun.
If you can get yourself into the top 10 in that fleet, you're going okay. And then get yourself over to the raid.
I'm going to say, BP, there's a fair chance that I won't wake up the next morning after some of the fun you'd have at night. It'd be just so much fun.
You got to go to bed to wake up, mate. So.
Yeah,
that's right, Jordan. You'll be straight out there, mate. Don't worry.
I love it. You guys got anything else, boys?
No, that's me. I'm glued to the internet tonight, my friends.
There's one thing we have to mention, boys. There is 100% something we have to mention. As part of the cup, the Patty de Velas. You remember those little cats without the rudders?
Without rudders.
Yeah.
And they're moving aft, forward. It's basically a windsurfer. Yeah,
essentially. Sort of from the Catalina region.
Moves forward and aft. Yep.
Yeah, these little cats. They're having a race. So remember, these are boats with the catamarans. They've got no boom. They've got no dagger board. They've got nothing, no rudders. They just sail them single-handed with a little main sheet on the
relying
cliff.
on main sheet and rail riding.
That's it.
And fore and aft with the rig. I had a look at one in Barcelona.
Yeah. So exactly like an old windsurfer.
As part of the America's Cup, there's a big race of them. 320 boats on the starting line. No rudders. Can you imagine? One and in, one and in.
Just imagine that dude who Port Taxamol.
Oh.
Old Jose just coming across. Just smoking them.
It changes the meaning of got no steerage, I've got no steerage.
Jose and his brother Hose B going off the other end.
Yeah, the Spanish firefighters.
Jose and
Hose B.
Oh dear. All right. Well, I think that's pretty much it. I did notice Vicobia got some new race backpacks, so jump onto those. Filled a few orders this week for Barcarati hoods. I can see Bicey just getting more.
Just snuggling into it now.
Yep.
The Barcarati hoodie.
Yep.
We've only got a few left, so listeners, get in quick. Because
make sure you've got an XL size for me because I'll be. Make sure you got an XL size for me because I'll get it when I get home.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, bud, because
you're ordering.
We're getting close. So
don't worry, the order's coming in, and I'll pay for it. Don't worry.
We all have to pay. No one gets a freebie. But yeah, that's it. I think
we pay. I can tell you that much.
Another good week. Yeah, that's it. Another good week. All right.
Great week.
Yeah.
Thanks to the thanks to the ladies of the Endo Team Australian Challenge. It was
wonderful,
fantastic to have them on. Thanks to Kaz for organising the last couple of weeks with the team.
Harold Grant and the team,
and Nick Douglas.
The whole team has been wonderful.
And Nick Douglas, of course. Yeah. And we look forward to Kaz taking over our socials shortly because we need someone to do some stuff for us.
We're going to get a professional manager. I love it. All right.
We're bloody hopeless. We are absolutely useless at it, aren't we? We can't even get a logo.
Cheers at barkarate.com if you want to send us a message. You can order the hoodies.
And some ideas on a logo.
You can order the hoodies on the website. And, of course, if you go to Radix Nutrition, use the term Barkarate just for a discount on us. And have a great week. And thank you so much for listening. And hopefully you enjoy it still. And remember, if you don't enjoy it, just send money.
Send money.
That way we'll know.
Put it in Jordan's
We've been going on about that. We've been banging on about that for 300 episodes. We've made nothing.
28 cents.